As you can tell, I'm never entirely sure when it'll be the last segment before I leave, but I thought I'd at least give a little shot of the area before going back to the mainland. In any case, yeah, it'll be the last, this should be the last French-speaking place until we get to France itself. Pretty fascinating what a little bit of money can do. We have gone from the coast of Africa out to the Canary Islands and are on the island of Lanzarote in the city of Tenerife. I know it looks like I've gone back to the instability of holding the phone myself, but I'm on a bridge where every time someone walks by, the whole thing shakes. But the contrast is extraordinary because you have really dry, even volcanic area. Again, well outfitted. The economies of Europe, because this is like the Cape Verdes were Portuguese, the Canaries are Spanish, so we're effectively in Europe, even though these are separate. There's an interesting thing here, I think, where it goes from being extremely dry on the west coast, let's say of either South America or Africa, or the United States for that matter, North America, to being very wet as it is on the other side of Africa, on the eastern coast of Brazil, and on the eastern seaboard of the United States. And so headed off now to see what can be seen of this part of the world, so stay tuned. Just to give you a sense of what I mean, it's very dry here. Cactus, as you see there, they found a way, and I'll see some more of it later. They found a way, it's very volcanic around here, so they've got a lot of, they grind up the ash and they use it as a top layer, and it's porous, so it allows the moisture to go through. They even do things like grow vineyards, special kind of wine. Something I definitely want to try, so I most definitely will. And yeah, here's an idea of the coast. Give you some sense of where we are. Yeah, I guess I should repeat that. I'm not sure that this mic was on, but there was because it's volcanic, you get a lot of ground up volcanic dirt used as a top layer for growing things, which allows the soil to retain the moisture down below where the roots are. And produce wine here. And most of these islands, Madeira, there's all kinds of special wines that come from this part of the world. And yeah, it's just surprisingly dry. It's nice. I mean, some people go for this kind of thing, sort of an austere look, and other people, like it more lush. There's a lot more vegetation. A lot of people out here riding jet skis. And there is somewhere here, I'll find it, a description of 6. Old fortress. Down the way there's a military museum. If you look over here, you see a lot of wind turbines. It makes a lot of sense. There's up and down the coast you see various spots Somebody's got kind of a makeshift setup here. Beautiful spot. Whether they're supposed to be there or not, I'm not sure. But yeah, go out and see just what Arrecife has to offer. All right. Boat's kind of up, safely out of the water. There's some really nice stonework around here. All the walkways and bridges are really well made. It's kind of a strange place. It's very fabricated, I guess I would say, for lack of a better word. It's there's just really nothing out here, and then all of a sudden a lot of new buildings and stores, and you know, it's they had a lot of space to work with, and there doesn't seem to be much to do here except shop, and I don't know, maybe that's it. As far as tourism goes, there does seem to be an enormous amount of people here suddenly, but they're walking around like I am, I guess in part trying to see what there is to see, and yeah, that's kind of an odd function. I guess when you were kids and you sort of enjoyed all the little details of life, you know, that as adults we forget or take for granted or whatever. And I guess that's a large part of what people do when they travel. They get to sort of get in a new environment where everything is novel and interesting, and it's yeah. So it's I don't know. I mean, the the behavioral part of travel, I guess, is one of the things that interests me. Not, I'm not really a people watcher, but I guess I can understand better now why some people are. They're Monday morning psychologists or something like that, where you just think, look at the stuff people do, and you try to figure out really just why. I think part of it might be not having been as concerned with other people in the past. I don't know that I am now, but the fascination with how people got the way they are, that's the in the mind that we'll eventually be coming to. There's a character out here whose laugh is infectious. I mean, he's constantly talking, and he's constantly laughing. I'm thinking, first of all, why am I not like that? And second of all, when is that guy going to shut up? And so that kind of stuff just, I guess it's worth paying attention to. All right. Some people down there swimming, and other people thinking they're crazy. So just like the yacker, it's different strokes for different folks. Let's see what we can do over here. Mostly European tourists come here. So you're going to hear Spanish and French and a little Portuguese, some German, and nice mix. strange too the difference weather makes. You know, people think about the temperament of folks in the north of Europe versus the south, and how much more gregarious and outgoing and everything the Italians and French and Spanish and Portuguese are, the Greeks, as opposed to the reserved Germans, the English. But it's interesting to think that all these things play into one's psyche. That you've got factors that will cause you to be one thing rather than another. It's not just the turning left versus turning right, but the, you know, I happen to grow up in this climate and be around these things, and the malleability of selves or psychologies is, I guess, eventually what we're coming to, and how malleable they might or might not be. A nature-nurture difference. Would you be you in any other situation, even though it turns out you speak Chinese now instead of Russian or whatever it happened to be? Your mom was like this rather than that. Your friends at school were blah, blah, blah. We are actually on the Islota de San Gabriel. It's hard to believe this is an island separated by that much water from the coast. That's swimmable even by me. But it is actually an island, so. And there's tons of people out here, so I'm trying to get away from the madding crowd in order to show you the place itself. And I must say, going back to the psyche thing, that I am unbelievably fascinated by people taking pictures of themselves as opposed to the place they're at. And they strike these weird-ass poses that I just for the life of me can't understand. It's, yeah. So, I get the sense I'm not supposed to go any further than this, even though one could by foot. But I'll give you some idea. Beautiful and quiet. This is a Saturday morning, and it's, as you can see, overcast. Not too bad. And some of that crowd there, line to get in. Historical museum. They turned the fort into that. And again, there aren't a lot of things to see out here. There are a lot of apartment buildings and hotels for people to get away, come here and relax. And yeah, folks like me to do a little sightseeing. But yeah, I've got to figure out somebody's name. I keep forgetting people's names, so I'm going to sign off for a minute. All right, the original purpose of this microphone was to cut out wind. Hopefully it's doing it. A beautiful church here at Plaza de las Palmas. There is a guy sleeping under a very nice cheetah blanket here in front of the church. The plaza is under construction, but I wanted to show at least a little bit of the center of the town, because the front is all big apartment buildings and whatnot. Here, by contrast, you see some of the local flavor. Surprising you could get all these beautiful vegetables out of such dry landscape. All right. Fortunately, we have a resident tech expert on board, and hopefully all these problems will soon be fixed. All right, let's have a view of this town. Quick overview. Lots to see. It could be months before this stuff is up. The kind of trouble I'm having has to do with storage and being able to get stuff to upload because of the lack of storage. And so even though it's right now mid to late April, it could be June before this is ever online. But anyway, the stuff about where you're from, I mean, the people I've seen, some of whom are crazy poor, some of whom are much more affluent. I mean, that alone would, give you certain possibilities. And then the question becomes whether you are the same person, just in different circumstances, or whether you are then a different person. So, again, the nature nurture stuff is whether a self is a malleable thing or whether it's mind or soul in the traditional sense of always being a self-same kind of thing. If so, then you can't do anything to change yourself. If not, every bit of thing that's contingent affects you. So let's see if we can figure some of that out.